Hi guys, Amber Craft, your local writer here. Now, today I wanted to talk about getting ready for NaNoWriMo. Now, during October, that's what you do, and it is actually called Preptober. So, there are a few things each week that you should do to get yourself ready so that you don't overwhelm yourself just in the planning phase. This week, being week 1, I wanted to talk about getting yourself, the writer, ready. Now, it's not news that there are distractions all around us, social media, our phones, just people in general, errands, things that you have to do on a daily, weekly basis, like going to work and picking up the kids and things like that. But with these tips, I have learned through my own trials and errors that, for the most part, this will help. This being one of the distractions, even if they're cute, you can't have the pumpkin. It's a fake pumpkin, but you can't have the pumpkin. Behave. Number 1, make your desk or the place you write in the most your sanctuary and get it ready for that. As an author, writing is a form of meditation for us. It's something that we love to do. But if your writing desk or your area is cluttered, then that's going to help your mind be cluttered, and it's going to actually hurt your writing process or even your outlining. So you want to make sure that if you have a spouse or kids, you tell them, this is my area, this is the way it needs to look, help me keep it this way. That way when you go to write, it's already set up. Now on this is going to be a couple things. You need to have music or a playlist or pictures, whatever gets your vibes going and gives you the positive energy to write. That way as soon as you sit down, you can hit that button or look at that picture and you have the inspiration. You want to stock up on your favorite coffee, teas, snacks, everything you're going to need while you're writing to keep you writing. This will keep you from having to take as many breaks. Also, if you do candles or incense or oils often, then it's nice to have those with you and on your writing desk or in your space also. So all you have to do is light that and get going. Now number 2 is determining your expectations beforehand. Now this is something you should have already began to think about before actually October even, but this is when you want to have narrowed down your point of view, your tense, the type of genre that you're going to want to write in. Those are all things that you want to have done, preferably before this week. But what you want to do is have that ready and then make a schedule or some type of process on how you're going to accomplish those, I think it's 1667 words a day, to achieve that 50,000 words by the end of the month. It's also a good idea to have a backup plan for anything that might happen. That way, in case something happens and you can't write for 2-3 days straight, maybe you can have a specified day off or the kids to the grandparents or something like that, where you are totally alone and you can just write for hours on end instead of a few minutes here or there, or however your schedule has planned. Now, number 3 is something I do just because I want to have as complete of a first outline as possible, and I'm normally a pantser to a point, but I like to have an outline for Nano just because there are so many words to write, and you want to make sure that you have a clear, concise plan where you're not writing words for nothing. Now in this, I kind of do outlining before outlining, where I think about the story I want, and if I've already gotten some characters written down, that's awesome. But I think about how I want the story to end, which is usually the hardest part for most writers. And I want to know, at least, even if I don't know the characters, how I want it to end. Do I want a big fiery explosion? Do I want a kidnapping to go wrong and then go right? How do I want it to end? What is the end result of the novel? Like, I have storyboards that I have this planned out, and I do this all throughout the year, no matter which story I'm working on. But I want to know how Act 3 is going to go, and then work backwards from there. And this is where your character outlining and things like that, which you should do your second week, which I'll have a video on next week, is going to take place. But by the first week, you should know this is how I want it to start, this is how I want it to end, And that way throughout the week, you can be planning in the in-between so that by the second week, you can get a full flushed out outline and start working on your characters. Doing this will also help you get a sense of your characters beforehand, which will come in handy when you do the character profile. And I'm going to link next week the character profile that I personally use when I first start a character, and that way as I determine whether they're going to be a series person or if they're just going to be a one book character, I can determine whether I need my longer character profile or if I just need the 1 page short. And I will link that down below and on my website next week, so make sure you look out for that. Now the last one is number 4, and this is mostly for new writers, but it sometimes helps to remind yourself if you've done this a few times also. But number 4 is to be honest and realistic with yourself. Now if you've done Camp NaNoWriMo, you get to set your own goals, not the 50,000. A lot of people will still try, but it's always nice to be realistic with yourself. For April, I had a 15,000 word goal and I only made 8, but I didn't consider it a fail because that was 8,000 words I wrote above the usual 10 that I do, and so I considered it a win. Now, life is hectic for all of us. We know this. Like I said, distractions and everything happen on a daily basis. But to write 667 words a day, it's kind of hectic, and you're going to have to make some sacrifices. And Americans have Thanksgiving in the middle of this NaNoWriMo month, so it's even worse because you're dealing with family and food and cooking and holidays, basically taking off of work, which you would think would give you more time to write, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is you don't want to have to pull your hair out, and you don't want to say, sorry family, it's Thanksgiving and I know you drove 1,500 miles to see me, but I've got to go write. That's where that backup plan comes in. That's where having everything fleshed out beforehand comes in, so you know exactly where you're at each day, and having a plan in place so that if you have to get up early one day to write, or you can narrow down the details of who's coming when and how long it's going to take to cook, and you can work around all that. But that is what comes with being honest with yourself and realistic about your goals. Don't consider it a fail if you don't reach 50,000, especially if this is your first year. It's a growing process. Try Camp NaNoWriMo where you can make your own and slowly go up. But either way, think of it this way. If you don't punch out 10,000 words a month or 5,000 words a month, whatever your goal is, whatever you usually write is, then anything above that is a win, okay? I was going to do Camp NaNoWriMo in July, and life happened and I haven't written in a few months, and so I'm just not getting back in the swing of things, which feels really weird because I'm starting right as my daughter has season, and so I have to make a plan, and that's why I didn't do NaNoWriMo last year. I had to make a plan, and I didn't know what that was going to be. I'd never done it before, so I had to see what it would be like to try to write during competition season, and try to do nano during competition season, and a holiday, and 2 jobs. Needless to say, I failed. But this year I know what's going on. I know how to set a routine. I know how to plan. I know I realistically won't hit 50,000, but anything above my normal 10 is going to be a win for me. Now, that's just me though. If you can write 50,000, great. If you get halfway through the month and you've already hit 50,000, keep going. The sky's the limit. But that is my 4 tips for getting ready for NaNoWriMo for yourself and your area. Next week I will talk about actually outlining and getting your work in progress, or about to be work in progress, ready. Alright? If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, thumbs up. I will leave all the details down below. Sorry this video is in this spot instead of my writing spot. I have a claw for 3 weeks and I couldn't set up my camera and lights and everything by myself. So I'm just using my little tripod thing down below. So make sure you guys have a great week. Make sure you're getting yourself ready so that you can work on getting your outline ready. And otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Happy writing. Bye. I wanted to try to talk to y'all about Preptober. Preptober.